Hey everyone, it's Krista here with Outgrowing, and I have been on a mad dash to get this last video to you of 2024. I have had so much happening that I just haven't been able to get focused and get this video done, but today is the 31st. I have to work in an hour and a half, so I decided I'm going to get on here quickly and do this video of my top 5 food crop fails of 2024. Honestly, I'm gonna say my garden, the vegetable garden or food crop garden, was a bit neglected this year because the flowers kind of took over. I did the 25 flower subscriptions and then I took back fresh flowers every week. It became this whole thing. So the vegetables did get a bit neglected, but I still had a ton of food that I did grow. And so lots was really successful. A few things were not successful at all. Those I'll cover here. And some of them just weren't as successful as I was hoping them to be. So I'm going to get on with this video here, you guys, because I know we are all chomping at the bit to get our seeds ordered, which I have been waiting to do as well. But I've kind of been waiting a little bit to see what the new books, like the new catalogs come out. I'm going to be making some big changes to the garden plans, and that is going to be coming up in a video real soon too. So I actually haven't placed any more seed orders since the one I did in the fall, but I am planning. I have been writing down my list of things that I'm going to need, but things are going to look a little different for me. So anyways, without further ado, let's talk about my top 5 food garden fails of 2024. Number 5, we are starting at the bottom of the barrel. It is cauliflower. I don't think I have successfully grown one cauliflower yet. I know that they're a cool season crop. Other than that, I don't know a whole big bunch about growing them. They start off okay. I cover them with pantyhose and their leaves, and then before I know it, they've bolted, they've turned brown. I don't know if that's from the heat, a lack of watering. I think that those crops need a little special attention, and they did not get that this year. I did get some, I didn't actually even plant broccoli this year. I don't know why I had intentions to, but I didn't. I've been successful at growing broccoli before. Cabbage I was successful at, but dang it, you guys, that cauliflower is just one I have not mastered. And so this year, it's going to be the year of figuring out how to grow me a cauliflower. I love cauliflower and I think it'd be great to grow it. So I'm focusing on that this year. That was my number 5. My number 4, it kind of is in the same family, that brassica family, bok choy. So bok choy, I started some indoors, and so here's the thing with the cauliflower, broccoli, or I didn't grow broccoli, so cauliflower, cabbage, all those you have to start about 4 to 6 weeks before you transplant them outside. And so all these I started. So bok choy, I started them. I've never grown bok choy before, but I like bok choy. So I was like, I'm gonna try this out this year. Started the seed, it turned out great. It was awesome. And then I planted it out and they matured, and I probably had 8 of them. They matured so fast. Like all of a sudden they were this big bok choy plant. So I got bok choy, yes, but the thing about the bok choy was that it all was ready at once. Well, who needs 8 heads of bok choy all at one time? So that was poor planning on my part. And then I tried to succession plant just seed, and the seed did not germinate. Now, I don't know if the seed didn't germinate or if they were taken out by the flea beetles. We get flea beetles really bad in the springtime. And depending on when you plant those crops, the flea beetles can decimate like those brassica crops in a night or even in like a few hours. So I know with my kale, I grew kale this year and it was fine, but some of the first ones that I planted, they were totally taken out by the flea beetles, but then I succession planted them and then all was fine and it worked out great. But they're these tiny little black beetles and they are horrific in the springtime. And then once the canola crops get sprayed out in the fields, they like move in as well. And so they can just like decimate your entire crop. So the bok choy, I had those ones ready, replanted, and then they just didn't regrow again. And then you know, they could have been there growing. But again, like the neglect happened. I was just like trying to keep my head above the water because this garden is so massive. It was the biggest it's ever been this past year because the burn pile got burnt, and then that opened up a whole other area. So yeah, it's like a quarter of an acre big that I work all by hand on my own pretty much. So I have this like little rototiller and it works fine for like helping me out a bit. But like when things get in full swing, it's just like, you got to pick your battles in the garden. And the bok choy was one that I was like, fine, I've had some bok choy, I've tried it out, it worked out great, but then I just had no more, which is kind of depressing. But anyway, whatever, that's how she goes. And I will definitely grow bok choy again. I think I'll grow it a little bit differently and maybe have different stages of it, because it's just Mark and I, and you know, for the most part, I'm the one that likes the bok choy, so I don't need a bunch of it ready all at once. I just need a little bit, so all is well. Anyways, my number 3 is corn. Now, I have this Unreal corn variety that I grow. It's called a Honey Select Triple Sweet, and I get it from William Dam Seed Company. It is delicious. It is amazing, and I did have some corn this year, but I planted 11 rows of corn, so they were like probably 12 feet long each row, and there was 11 of them. And out of those 11 rows, I think 4 rows grew, which is more than enough corn for Mark and I was able to share some of it. But, you know, it's like nice to have extra and be able to give it to your family. I did share a little bit with my family, but yeah, out of the 11 rows, I grew like, there was hardly like 4 rows that grew. I was like, where the heck did the rest of them go? Like, whatever. But, it was older seed. I think it's actually from 2 seasons ago. So actually that was its 3rd season. And so it might have just been old. I know like as I was planting it, the robins were like right behind me, just like picking it out. So, I did plant extra, but yeah. And it was also in a spot that had never been planted before. So the weeds kind of overtook it too. So I don't know if it was just like not enough weed control when some of them were starting to germinate or what was happening there, but the germination was poor on them. But the corn that I did get was awesome. And yeah, it has never failed me, this variety of corn, and anybody that's had it is just like, holy, that is amazing. I think a lot of people are very compelled to buy something that says peaches and cream because that's what we think when we go to the grocery store. That's what we see. But peaches and cream is not the sweetest. And I get it if you want to buy like some, you know, heirloom type corn, you may not get one of these varieties, but I'm totally cool with genetically modified seeds. And I don't even actually know if they are genetically modified per se, but they are not heirloom seed, I'll say that. And so I'm fine with that. I'm good with whatever. I mean, if you're growing your own food, I think that you are one step above the rest anyway. So kudos to you for that. But yeah, so the corn is good, and I will definitely put the variety and where I get my seed from in the comment section. I will also pop it up in the video here so that you guys can all see that in case you're curious to know. I've never been failed by that corn, though I had lack of germination. The corn I did grow was unbelievable. The key to growing corn successfully is to follow the instructions. Do plant the exact distance apart. You don't want to mess around with that. Corn, the very first year I ever grew corn, I grew it really close together because I thought, well, it's going to blow over in the wind. But the thing about corn is that when you grow it the exact right spacing out in the middle of wherever, the wind creates strength and that holds it up. So the first year I planted them close together because I'm like, oh, they're going to blow over. Well, they had no strength, poor germination, poor pollination. Every single one of those little furry strands that grows off of there has to be pollinated in order for it to create a kernel of corn. And so because they were all so close together, the pollination was horrific. And anyways, it was a fail, but that was, I don't know how many years ago. And so I learned my lesson. Just follow the freaking instructions, Krista. Like, they're not there because they don't know. So there's that. Follow the instructions on the package of your seeds. You will be successful. You won't waste seeds. It'll be better off, especially corn. And okay, so number 2 is tomatoes. And though I had lots of tomatoes, they were a bit of a fail in the sense that I didn't know what I was growing. I did some of them because of characteristics about them. But anyways, I get them from a friend of mine, and he starts a bunch of seedlings. And so I get them from him in trades for garlic. And he had a little bit of hail, and he had them, anyways, they were fine. Just that I wasn't able to, I didn't know exactly what varieties were what when I took them. And I was like, okay with that. I'm just like, you know what, honestly, because I was just getting back from the cruise. I'm like, I just need to plant them. It's fine. If I have any questions, I'll ask. And just the summer went on, and I was like, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like they're all delicious and amazing. I just don't know exactly what's what. And then the other thing too is that I just like don't have a good system down for like staking them up. I don't have a good, like I used to have tomato cages, but they were all broken and awful. So I actually got rid of all of them, and I probably just need to invest in some new ones, because I don't really want to set up an entirely permanent structure to grow the tomatoes, because I crop rotate every year. So for me, the best thing is probably those tomato cages, and then just, you know, kind of stringing them up in there. But my tomatoes were just the whole area was just a mess this year, but I did get quite a few tomatoes, probably not nearly as many as I should have got. But, again, like considering they did grow, I didn't really know what was what. I knew what the black crims were. I knew what the tomatillos were. But other than that, I didn't really know. Oh, the Romas. I knew which ones were Romas because they have a distinct shape. But so that was kind of a thing. It wasn't necessarily a fail, but it was just like the plants were all toppled over. There was like, it was a bit of a messy area, that whole tomato section. So unfortunately, that was what happened there. And my number 1 food crop fail this year, which again, none of these are total fails other than the cauliflower, but just, it was the garlic. And so I've been growing garlic for like 9 years, maybe 10 even. I should look back and see. I've been growing garlic for a lot of years, and I've only ever had 1 total fail. I planted it here in my yard, in my backyard here. And it was like my 3rd year planting it. And I took this little workshop, and they said, you know, you got to cover it with mulch and whatever else. And I was like, okay. So I got some straw, covered my garlic with mulch. And then in the springtime, I don't know if it's I didn't get the mulch off soon enough or what happened there, but all of my garlic rotted. So that was like my 3rd year growing it. And then this year, you have to have some kind of protection on your garlic. But in most years, we have enough snow here in Saskatchewan that it provides enough cover and insulation that you don't need to actually put more insulation down, like straw or mulch or whatever. And so last year, I mean, I don't ever put anything down. So I planted 1,000 bulbs. Again, that was a fail. I thought it was planting 2,000, and then I only planted 1,000 because I didn't get to planting the rest of it. And I ended up processing that garlic seed. And then I ended up planting it. So I had 1,000 planted and only ended up with 600 cloves. Like that's only 60% germination, you guys. That isn't very good at all. Like when you think of the cost of like garlic seed and all that. And a good thing about that is that I was able to reuse garlic seed from my previous crop. But I mean, when you're only at 60% germination, that's not good. That's considered like a fail on my part for sure. So last year we didn't have a lot of snow cover. They consider like a La Nina year. And so I think it's La Nina or an El Nino. Maybe it's an El Nino. When it's warmer out, the temperatures are more mild, and we didn't have a lot of snow at the farm. Like we couldn't even get the snowmobiles out last year. And so consequently, I think because of that, I lost a lot of my garlic seed. So yeah, so I only had 600 cloves come up. And then to boot, The majority of them are doing really good. I have them in a cold storage area. They haven't started to sprout. They're doing really, really good. But some of them have a little bit of a disease going on. Some of them had a disease going on with them. Their shelf life is not great. Some of the smaller ones, I forget what it's called, but it's something that is caused from the temperature being so wet and then so hot and dry. And so just kind of like erratic temperatures. And so that caused me some grief with my garlic this year as well. So, I love doing these top 5 best of the best and worst of the worst because it gives me an area of focus for the year to come. And I definitely want to figure out the food garden crops better this year. But I am super excited I am excited. I'm excited about my plans for the garden coming up because I felt like I was just in survival mode for the last couple of years out there, just like trying to keep my head above the water. It's such a big space. And the garden is a space that I enjoy and I love and I enjoy to be in it. It's something that gives me a great deal of peace. And the last couple of years has just been like a rat race for me out there. So I really want to be able to focus on some of the crops, flowers and vegetables and, fruit and stuff like that. I want to be able to focus a little bit more on that kind of stuff and just being more diligent about growing and, watering and composting and all that stuff. And just trying to really get that garden into tip-top shape. So I would eventually like to kind of get to the whole no-till gardening, but I just haven't been able to venture into that yet, just with it being such a brand new garden. It still needs a little bit of work to it. So I haven't been able to delve too much into that, but I think that's something I'd like to do in the future for sure. So you guys, that is going to wrap up my top 5 food crop fails. So if you guys have any similar fails or successes with anything that I've been talking about, please feel free to drop that in the comment section. I'd love to hear what you guys got going on in your gardens and what your guys' plans are for 2025. I'm really excited. We're gonna have a video about that coming up in the future. And if you guys like the video, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Then you guys will stay hip with what's happening at the ranch. I know I have, there's been a lot going on. So make sure you hit subscribe. I'm going to continue to try to get one video out a week. I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to manage that entirely, but that's my goal. So please a short at least, a video or a short, but yeah, give me subscribe so you don't miss out. Hit the like button if you like the video. And I want to thank you guys for watching. Wish you guys all a very, very happy new year. All the best in 2025. Please have a safe and happy new year. And we will check you guys next time. Thank you again for watching.